Welcome to the Social Slice podcast. My name is Alicia Henley.
And my name is Noble Crawford.
Social Slice gives you a slice of marketing, branding, and social strategy.
From some of the top influencers in the business, we dive into the best practices, tools, and tips
to help you connect, engage, and grow your brand. Grab your slice. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Social Slice podcast. I am very, very excited to introduce our guest today. She is known for her expertise in marketing and event planning, but she's also recognized as a digital content and media expert. Today's guest, she is someone that we consider here on the Social Slice, an influencer in our space and in her space. And I'd like to welcome Megan A Dutta to the show, editor of SCN Magazine now. Such a pleasure to have you, Megan.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be on and so excited for you guys on season 2 and to see what you bring with the video.
Super cool, right?
It is. It's awesome.
Yes, we're happy to have you on with us. And we know that you recently made a seamless transition from a leading marketing position into a major, from a major company and now becoming editor of a magazine. So tell us and our listeners, about the pivot and how you built your influence on your journey so far.
Yeah. So, for me, people were saying like, oh, that's so different. I was like, it's really not. At Peerless AV, I did a ton of writing. I handled the thought leadership program, and I was the one, getting the case studies, figuring out how we're going to send them to the media, working with the media, building relationships. And so now I'm just doing the same thing, but on the other side, taking out all those marketing words we like to use, like seamless is on our list of words that people at SCN hate. I like it. But, things like seamless, world's best, just taking out those and just writing from a different perspective. And I am happy, I'm staying in the industry and I get to use all my connections and have all these awesome people that I've worked with write for SCN, which I think is really cool. Trying to do more digital with SCN. We started an Instagram. We're going to do more videos on avnetwork.com. We had Wallace Johnson is writing a viewpoint column for the October issue. So, getting new voices involved and making new friends. I'm stoked.
We certainly appreciate you jumping on with us today, Megan. I'm going to go ahead and kick us off. And one question I wanted to ask you, I know that influence and thought leadership marketing as a strategy is becoming a little bit more commonplace. But I think the days that looking at how many social followers someone has or if they've ever written a book to determine if they're a true thought leader or not are gone. So what are some ways that we can position ourselves to be considered as influencers?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I have 10,000 followers, but I'm not getting any interaction. I'm not getting any likes. There's no point. If you're posting, hundreds of videos and they're only getting 1 or 2 likes each, it's not worth the time that you're putting into that. So it's watching for people, especially on, social media, people that are engaged. They're creating new conversations. They're taking articles and adding their thoughts on them, asking other people what they think, participating in fun hashtags like AV hashtags. The Twitter account says, every week they have a new hashtag that they ask you to participate and people do fun things. And you can tell from there who's really involved and who's involved year round. I think in our industry, particularly people get really involved in social right around InfoComm. And you see, Twitter's just blowing up and LinkedIn, and then they kind of go away, come back. You have to watch for people that are consistent. I think you can find thought leadership in magazines like SCN. I mentioned Wallace Johnson wrote an article for us. We find people that are really involved in the industry and have different viewpoints, and then letting them take that from 140 characters to 750, 800 words. That's really what you need to look for. And people that are speaking at conferences, I think you can look at Digital Signage Expo, CEDIA, InfoComm, and see what people are speaking about, who's speaking, who they're pairing up with. And just get to know them.
Got it. Awesome.
So we're talking about, people speaking at conferences and things like that. And so as a company or within an industry, what characteristics do influencers typically share?
So I don't think, I'm going to kind of contradict myself, because I think the first thing you think of when you think of a thought leader is someone that's really outgoing and network and they know everyone. And that definitely is a thought leader, and that's a great place to be. But you also have to remember there's people that are thought leaders that are introverts. Maybe they're not going to be the first one to come up to you at a conference and, you know, do a little humble brag or talk about themselves. But those people really know a lot. And sometimes they're more comfortable with writing with words. So you'll see them more published, and maybe they're not going to be the ones that are going to speak. Like I know somebody that does industry speaking engagements, and he hates it. Like it's his worst fear. He does it because his company makes him, you know, so I won't name him, but he has all these great thoughts, and he's actually a really good speaker, but he hates it because that's not who he is. So I think you have to kind of blend all different kinds of people. So you have the extroverts to kind of be the faces of the brand that are out there saying like, hey, hi, talk to me. I love to talk to people. And then the introverts that can give you really good content, but maybe it's not in the same way as other people. And I think you have to be educated and not, you know, not just on the surface. You can't just know like this much about a topic and then call yourself a thought leader. You really have to know. And it doesn't have to be everything about the AV industry. You can pick this specific area of sound or this specific area of displays, but you have to actually know what you're talking about.
Right. So I guess that you have to be educated. You have to know what you're talking about, no matter if you're, you know, you're an outgoing person or more laid back. That's not really upfront in everybody's face. And that's been a hard thing to balance, you know, when you need to figure out, I mean, because it's a grind either way, whether you're writing a whole bunch of pieces or if you're say on a trade show floor and just want to networking, it can all be a big part of the grind and contributing to your overall influence, right?
It's time consuming, but you need to put the work in. You know, you can't just be an influencer when you want to be. If you want to be an influencer, you have to be, you know, 24/7, 365. And I think the other thing I missed is you have to be passionate. You know, if you just know stuff, but you're not passionate about it, no one wants to listen to your message. So if you're passionate about what you're speaking about, what you're doing, that really comes across and people make that genuine connection.
Yeah. And again, you've had a very interesting journey to me. I think your journey so far has been pretty interesting, making this switch. And I won't say seamless, let's say flawless. I think you've made a flawless transition. That's how we're going to put it. But so far, what are 3 key takeaways, like things that you've learned that you can share from your own journey on becoming a person of influence in a particular industry?
Yeah, I think the first thing I just talked about was passion. You really have to want to be involved in the industry and like what you're talking about. I mean, if you're just, you know, like, this does this widget does this, nobody cares. Like, you really have to make that personal connection. So passion has really helped me. I've become a bigger nerd than I ever thought, I guess is a good way to say that. I think making genuine connections. So a lot of the people I've met on social, like yourself, we've become genuine friends and getting to know people. And even if you don't take it to the friendship level, if you're just making a great partner out of somebody, making those genuine connections has definitely helped. And then getting involved with associations like AVIXA, CDO, Women in CT, Women of Infocom. They don't know if they're changing their name yet, so I'll still call them that. All these great organizations that you can be a part of and meet other people. And that's where you can make those connections. You can learn new things, get involved on the boards, and you can really be a change maker within that association and learn how everything's going to evolve. I mean, that's how AVIXA made the name change. They talk to the people that volunteer for them.
Right. And being involved in those communities is where you can share your influence the most. And that's been a predominant part of what you've done. You're on the council for exhibitors for Infocom, right?
Well, not anymore, because it has to be a manufacturer. But I'm really proud of the work. I was on that committee for a very long time and was fortunate enough to chair it last year. And I'm still helping them, behind the scenes build the committee for next year. And they're gonna still come in strong because it's my baby. I don't want it to go away. And it was on such an upward trajectory. And I think that's where it's going to keep going. But yeah, I'm still involved in the Women of Infocom Network, Women of Consumer Tech, and then some other like PRSA, which also I won't be able to be involved in after my term's over because I'm on the editorial side now. But
right,
getting involved where you can and helping where you can and making sure your opinion, your company's opinion is heard. And that's how you make change.
Absolutely. So what do you think have been some of the most powerful tools that you've used or that influencers can use to harness a strategy, say outside of blogging or social media?
So I know you said no social media, but I say this a lot. LinkedIn, I think, is really underutilized. And people don't realize if you don't have your own website or, you're not a writer and you don't connect, like you're not on Twitter, you don't think that's how you can connect with people. You can post articles on LinkedIn or even write your own blogs on LinkedIn.
Yes.
So I think that's a good space to do it. And that face-to-face networking is priceless. And I'm kind of just repeating things I just said, but being involved in the communities, making sure that you're speaking at events, all of these events, how they choose their speaker is you have to fill out a proposal. That's all it takes. So if you are a subject matter expert on XYZ, fill out the proposal for Infocom, the show, not the association, or for Digital Signage Expo, whatever, fill out that proposal and take a chance. And a lot of times you can work with other people. So that networking, that's where that comes into play. Like, let's say I want to do a panel and I want to moderate the panel because I'm editorial. And then I want to pick people. I'm going to pick people I know, like, oh, Alicia does sound for a major venue. I'm going to pick her to talk about that. And then I'll pick a manufacturer maybe that you've worked with. And we build this community that can talk about things together.
Right.
That's good stuff. I'll switch gears here for a second. I got one for you, Megan. Really concentrating on self-promotion. So, constant self-promotion is probably not the best way to, to try to transition yourself into thought leadership. But what would you say are some additional things that maybe we should not do if we're trying to make that transition to become a person of influence?
So, I like a little self-promotion, like you said, but not too much that people just don't want to hear what you're saying, because you have to create, the whole purpose of it is to create a conversation and drive the industry forward. So staying away from self-promotion is huge. I think trying to say what not to do versus what to do. So, don't be afraid, I would say, to reach out to people and create a community for yourself. And don't be afraid to say, I don't know the answer for that. Alicia and I actually talked about this offline not too long ago, that if you don't know something, it's okay to say, I don't really know the answer to that. I can research it and get back to you, or I can refer you to somebody else that can speak on that subject better. People like that humanity in you, that I don't know everything. And I think that just endears them to you, and that will get you far.
Got it. Yeah, that makes complete sense. I had a situation recently that was the exact same situation. Someone had contacted me about speaking at an event, and it was on Internet of Things. There's security around the Internet of Things. Those kind of security issues, and that is not my forte. I can hold my own in a conversation, but to get up in front of a group of people and speak on something. So I just told the meeting planner, like, that's not my strength. I would love to do it. Don't get me wrong, but that's not my strength. And the result of that, it actually turned out better, because now they're looking at other event opportunities where I can speak on something that, that I'm more knowledgeable about.
Right. And that's, such a hot topic that you're right. It's a good party conversation that I could have easily, but would I want to speak on a panel about it? No. And it's okay to say no. You don't have to take every opportunity that comes your way. And like you said, look what came from it. You got a better opportunity out of it, where it's something you're comfortable and you want to spread that message for yourself and your brand.
Yep. So let me ask you this. Do you think producing original content is necessary for someone to be considered a legitimate thought leader? And if so, then what ratio of original content versus, curated or shared content, what should that ratio be?
So I absolutely do, but I'm going to kind of qualify that. I don't think original content has to be as complicated as people make it out to be. You don't have to write this 3,000 word essay and blog every day. You can do a short blog on LinkedIn. You can do 500 words on something that people want to connect with and want to read. It has to be engaging still, but you can even do 140 characters. You can let's say you take an article that we wrote for SCN and you say, I want to add XYZ to this. What do you think of that? And let people engage in that conversation, or even posting it on LinkedIn, emailing it to people saying, hey, here's my thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on this? So it can be original content. Doesn't mean you have to write the whole thing and be the subject matter expert. You could just be adding your take to it. And I think people respect that. And, creating the conversations, because that's really what it's all about.
Got it. Right. And so so we're writing original content, but just in different forms or formats. Mm-hmm. What about content that, maybe it's content that is someone else's completely, but, we're looking to share that, whether it's on social or what have you. Like, what percentage of our content do you think that, at least content that we're sharing, do you think should be our own versus someone else's?
Well, I don't think you need to have a really huge percentage. I'd say 10%, as long as the rest of the content you're putting out is relevant and people are interacting with it still. I don't think you should, I think it's rare that you should just retweet something without adding a comment, or, like something on LinkedIn without saying like your 2 cents on it. I think that, because again, it's creating that conversation. So let's say you post something about the Social Slice show. I'm not just going to retweet it. I'm going to say, hey, these are my friends, check them out. Or I really like this subject matter expert that's on this week, or I listened to this and here's why I liked it. You should always be adding to that conversation, unless you're just, let's say it's a silly picture or whatever, you want to retweet that, that's fine. But the rest of the time you should always be adding something. But that actual, let's say 500 words or whatever, original tweet to create thoughts, that can be about 10%.
Got it. Awesome.
So now with digital being a big part of what we do, and especially what you're doing at SCN, what would you say is your favorite part about it outside of blogging? Is there one piece of it that stands out to you? Like, is it video? Is it social? What's your favorite thing to do right now in the moment?
I love social. That's not a secret. So I like, we've grown our Twitter already because we're adding, making more conversations. We just started our Instagram, so go follow it at SCN Magazine. But I also like the video, and I think that's really important. And it's a part of content that I think, I don't want to use the word amateurs, but let's say amateurs are just getting familiar with, because now, you can grab your phone, do a quick video, you can tweet it, you can put it up on your blog, put it on LinkedIn, and it's never been that accessible to people. So I think getting into the video is going to grow more and more. I think that's going to be a great way. And people like to see your face when you're talking. And so I think it creates a good conversation. It makes people feel like they know you more, I think, which is the reason why you guys switched to a video format. Instead of just audio, you can watch online and say, oh, like, I know Alicia, I see how she reacts to things. I know Noble, I see his mechanisms and all, his facial expressions, and they're great smiles, and it makes people feel more connected with you. So I think video is going to be a really big thing. I'm totally going to misquote the stat right now, but Cisco said something like 85% of the internet is going to be video by, I want to say 2020. And so if you're not on the video game yet, you better start stepping up. And it could be even just like you're out at an event, just doing a video of people around you if you don't want to show your face, or ask them a question and post it on your Twitter or LinkedIn, and start using that more than just words.
Yeah, and I actually, because I saw the video that y'all did when you were all out at the rebrand of InfoComm, and that was pretty cool because you got not only yourself as an influencer put that content out, but it was shared content. You took you took people's ideas and showcased them on your platform, but all across the board, it was all shared content from different companies, manufacturers, and people who are just writers. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like that. Some people feel more comfortable with that than writing, and that's why, the word vlog was invented. You can do a vlog if you aren't comfortable blogging.
Right. Video is definitely a hot topic last season on Social Slice, and I'm sure it won't go anywhere, especially now that it's on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one of my favorite platforms other than Twitter because that's where I started before I had a website. It was just easy to use. You can go there, you can blog, you can make professional connections and link with people that you know personally as well. So video would definitely continue to be a huge part of it, no doubt about that. So as we wrap it up, what do you think is one useful strategy or tool that you'd recommend for the listeners that will help them build their influence? Something that, they could put into immediate action.
I don't like to rules, so I'm going to go with two things.
Go ahead.
The first is find your community on Twitter. When we're in the professional AV, it's hashtag AV tweets. Find your community, follow people that are using that hashtag, respond using that hashtag, get engaged with those people, and you start to make a community and build your influence. And the second, like I said earlier, is get involved with associations.
Right.
That's where you're going to meet, all these other wonderful people that are like-minded with you, and you'll get a diversity of opinions, especially when you join a committee and not just, it's not about just like attending their webinars and going to their trade shows or meetings or whatever they're having. Really get involved, and that's where you can kind of drive growth and really start to stand out. And doing so, besides building your own brand, you make these amazing connections and meet all these other amazing people. I mean, you'll go, if you were involved in InfoComm's committees, you got invited to the leadership lab when they announced Avixa, and they got to mingle with, Gary Hall from Cisco, Dave Lubuskis, who's the head of InfoComm, all these really high level people. So get involved, and you never know who you'll meet or, where it's going to take you.
Absolutely.
That's good advice. That's good stuff, Megan. You got the wheels turning up here. So, So anyway, we are going to transition to the last segment today, and that is the infamous lightning round. And so for the lightning round, you are going to have 60 seconds to answer some random questions. Alicia's going to be asking you the questions. I'm going to be keeping time. I will alert you at 30 seconds and then again at 10 seconds. And we'll go ahead and get this thing cranked up. You ready, Alicia?
What the record is?
What is it, Alicia?
I think it might be 8 or 9 from last season.
So
I think it might be 8 or 9.
Talk fast because I'm, 15. Let's go.
All right. I guess she's ready, Noel.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Would you rather go hand gliding or whitewater rafting?
Whitewater rafting.
Would you fly on a plane? Or when you fly on a plane, do you wear a neck pillow?
No.
No.
Keep going with the questions.
If we came to your house for dinner, what would you prepare for us?
Oh, probably some kind of Mexican food.
What's your hidden superpower?
I have psychic dreams.
30 seconds.
Where would you rather be from, Mars or Venus?
Venus.
What's your favorite sport?
Hockey.
Oranges or watermelons?
Watermelon.
Would you rather be besties with Taylor Swift or Beyonce?
Oh, Beyonce, no question.
You're a new addition to the crayon box. What color would you be?
Magenta.
5 seconds.
Wonder Woman or Superman?
Wonder Woman.
Time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. How many was that, Alicia?
Yeah, that was 10. That was 10.
That was
Alicia,
really
you gotta,
good.
speed it up.
I know. I got to speak. All right. Well, I'll be better at this.
Next
That
time I'm
was
going to read the questions and answer them myself.
That way you can get the world record, right?
I probably could.
Yeah, all right. Well, Megan, tell everybody where they can follow you on the internet and how they can connect with you.
Sure. You can find me personally at Megan A Dutta on Twitter or www.meganadutta.com. And you can find SCN at SCN Mag on Twitter or avnetwork.com.
Sweet.
Awesome. Well, Megan, that was a pretty good lightning round. We appreciate you playing with us, and definitely appreciate you jumping on the show with us and talking with us today about influencer marketing. So,
yeah,
folks,
good time with the two of you.
well, thank you. We try to keep it a little entertaining. You know, this new video thing is a little new for us, but we'll get better at it. So,
yeah. I was
right,
trying
folks.
to read the questions and look at myself at the same time. So yeah, that's something new.
Oh man, that's good. All right, folks. Well, you have just witnessed another epic episode of the Social Slice podcast. I am your co-host, Noble Crawford. We're here with Alicia Henley, special guest Megan A Dutta. We appreciate it, and we will see you next week. Thanks for listening to the show. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Jump on over to iTunes to leave a rating and review. This will help us improve our ranking and grow our brand. We appreciate your feedback.
Also, be sure to check out the show notes on socialslice.io, where you can link to all the resources mentioned in today's episode.
Want to join us on the show? Or you have an idea about a future topic? Follow us on Twitter at Social Slice Show or Facebook at Social Slice.
Tune in next week as we bring you more tools, tips, and strategies to help you connect, engage, and grow your brand.